This is Ed Perlmutter. I'm your congressman for the 7th Congressional District. And we are starting a series called Local Heroes, which is a series about folks who've stepped up during this very difficult time in America and around the world, given the pandemic and the economic consequences of the pandemic. And one of those local heroes is a friend of mine that I've known pretty much my whole life. His name is Jim Shpall. He is the head of Applejack's Liquor, which is a familiar place for many people in the Denver metropolitan area. One of the largest liquor stores, certainly in the state of Colorado. And Jim, because one, he's got a big heart, and his company is such a community-minded kind of business, has done some things that I think warrant him being one of our local heroes during this difficult time. So, Jim, I just want you to kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your store, and then I want to ask you some questions about things you've been doing to help while we've been in this pandemic. So, Mr. Shpall, you're on.
Thanks, Congressman Perlmutter. I sort of don't like and cringed when you said local heroes, because at this time, nobody is a hero. We're just all trying to do our part, and we're all trying to survive. We're all concerned about our health, and health for me is three things. One is our physical health, of course. One is our mental health, and third is our economic health. And so as long as that's the focus, we can move forward or try to move forward as best we can in these troubled times. So I'm the CEO of Applejack Wine and Spirits, and I've been an owner of Applejack since 1994. I've done this with my family. My family bought into Applejack in 1980. And before that, it was owned by another family. So Applejack has been here since 1961 and has been Colorado owned since its inception in 61, long before I-70 was even completed.
Well, so you guys have been a kind of an institution in our area for a long time. And, you know, I know that as part of the community, and you may not want to consider yourself a local hero because there are so many people that are doing so much for folks, but I really want the citizens, the folks who are looking at this in Adams County and in Jefferson County to know some of the extra steps you've taken to help our neighbors who find themselves in kind of difficult economic situation.
Sure. You know, as I've said, if there are no winners in today's environment, we're all trying to survive as best we can. And I've always felt that we owe a debt to one another. And since we are lucky enough to be open, we have tried to make sure that, number one, we service the community well, but we also service our employees well. And that we also try to help those who have been devastated by the economic downturn, which is primarily or largely in the service industry of restaurants, hotels, and the like. So we went out knowing that we were still alive economically and hired a large number of people, or what I think is a large number of people, to give them the economic means to help survive this crisis that we're in. I think we've hired 35 or so people. I'm off by a few numbers, both part-time and full-time, number one, to help us out. But we also think that they're helping us helping them out by hiring them is really critical to us and our survival, not just today, but long-term.
Tell us about some of the people that you've been hiring.
Well, they come from a lot of them are from the restaurants. We've hired valets to be drivers. We've hired sommeliers to help us. It sounds funny, but one of our things is we used to do 95% of our business by people walking into the store. And when Mayor Hancock briefly announced that all liquor stores would be closed, there was a run on us. And we decided, in abundance of caution for our own employees, to shut down the store for about 2 weeks. We're open now, but we shut it down and went to only curbside and delivery. Well, what you don't realize is that is very labor intensive, and we need people who know the difference between one wine, a Cabernet and a Merlot, and a reserve wine and a non-reserve wine and a Barolo and a Brunello. So we needed to get some people who had some knowledge from the restaurant industry who could help us actually fulfill these orders in the proper way. That's what we've done.
So how did
We've
you
hired
get,
sorry, I would say we've even hired cleaning services.
okay. How did you get the word out that you needed some additional assistance and you wanted to help some of these folks in the hospitality industry?
I called some people I know. I mean, as you can see by the gray hair and the balding spot, which you may not see, I know a lot of people. I'm a Denver native. My family goes back some generations. And so we called all the people that we knew within the community and said, how can we help? How can we help? And that's really how it happened. And they said, help us by hiring our valets, help us by hiring some of those sommeliers and other people. We reached out.
How has your original staff, how have they reacted to you all doing this?
They're thrilled because we're protecting them at the same time we're helping others. And the way we're protecting them is keeping the business viable, keeping it alive and working so that we can meet those payroll demands. That's the goal. The goal is not to thrive. The goal is to survive, and survival means making sure my employees are well taken care of today, tomorrow, in the future. So that's how we're doing it.
Nice. So have you had any comments from the folks that you've recently hired? Have they said anything about working at Applejack's?
Hopefully they all like it. I mean, hopefully we're good employers. But you know what? Everyone is appreciative. The same way most of my customers are appreciative that we're working so hard to help out. I mean, people get it. You know, there's a few people who aren't as easygoing about this, but that's understandable. Part of it is understanding everyone's humanity in this crisis. And everyone exhibits it in different ways. Some are thankful about it, others are very nervous about it, and we hopefully are attentive to all those different reactions.
Well, you've always been a good friend, and you've always been, Applejack's always been a great member of our community. And for you to step up, and you may not consider this going above and beyond, because, you know, it does assist the store, but quite frankly, you are going above and beyond to be hiring all these folks who've been furloughed or laid off in one way or another. And I'm sure that this gives them, you know, confidence in their life that can be shattered when you lose a job. So I just want to thank you, Jim. And if you've got any concluding remarks about, you know, the ethic that you think Applejack's is exhibiting here, you know, please give it to us.
Well, the only comment I would make is that, you know, I don't mean it to be trite that we're all in this together, but being in it together means helping when you can help. The hand is extended, not to touch, socially distant, but to help. And we're keeping our social distance, but we're also extending a hand, a helping hand, if not a physical hand to help. And I've got to say to you, you know, you and I, as you said, have known each other for a long, long time. And that's why you're in the pandemic bullseye of this at your age, your advanced stage. But I had to get that in. But in all seriousness, we've got to get through this, and we will get through this. And we know that there's an end to this. But in the meantime, it's very painful. And what we've got to do is, as I said earlier, make sure that we address everyone's physical health, protect their mental health, and do as much as we can to help their economic health. Because a lot of the economic health impacts both your physical and your mental health.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Shpall of Applejack's, who has been with us today and really has extended that helping hand figuratively to so many people who've seen their economic lives disrupted by this healthcare emergency that we're in. But as he said, we're in this together, and we will get through this together. Thank you very much.
Thank you.